The Warriors failed Klay Thompson, so he had to leave. Why? Well, before the season, they offered him 2 years, $48 million. He ended up taking less money per year on the Mavericks. In fact, dude could have had a 4-year deal elsewhere, but said, no, I'm going with Luka and Kyrie. It was obvious. He didn't want to return to Golden State after what they did. But first, the sign and trade was the Mavs get Klay, the Hornets get Josh Green, the Dubs got a $16 million trade exception and 2 second-round picks. But why did he choose Dallas for $50 million? The 4-year teams had space like Pistons and the Jazz, but Klay wants to compete for a championship. Mavs just made the finals, but he also wants to start. The Lakers wanted him, but there is a ton of baggage playing with LeBron James. I mean, if Klay had an off night, he would take the blame, which happens to like every LeBron teammate. In Dallas, there's less pressure and they wanted him. LeBron said he would take a pay cut for a short list of players. Klay, James Harden, Jonas Valanciunas, or DeMar DeRozan. But the Mavs said, you are the only one we want. LA rarely misses on free agents to Dallas, but this time it worked. And after what the Dubs did, he needed to feel important. But what I find very weird is telling myself to kick bad habits, but go out with people who pull out their bad habits, start using it, and I'm like, it's just a little bit, can I borrow yours? Then before you know it, it's back. Why does that happen? Well, what if I told you there is a habit alternative that you can take out of your pocket instead? Today's sponsor is Fume, an award-winning flavored air device containing 0 nicotine, 0 vapor, or smoke. It is a guilt-free alternative to fill the void that a bad habit can leave. Tons of great flavors. My favorite actually is this one. It's called maple pepper. And the flavor is in the Fume cores. Think about it like this. It ain't vaping. If vapor was like sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Lots of great flavors like crisp mint and orange vanilla, and it's made to fidget with. Even though I never learned that spin around the finger thing I saw people do in high school. A satisfying sound when you adjust the device. Point is that Fume has served over 300,000 customers and you can be their next success story. For a limited time, use my code AMHOOPS to get your free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack. It's the all-new magnetic stand for your Fume device, so head to tryfume.com, that is tryfum.com, use code AMHOOPS or scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume base when you order that Journey Pack today. Plus, think about the opportunity with Luka. The Mavs starting 5 is Luka, Kyrie, Klay, PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford, with a bench including Derek Lively and replacing Josh Green with Quentin Grimes plus Najee Marshall. But honestly, this is overrated from a basketball standpoint. Klay is not the player he used to be, and the defense of Luka, Kyrie, and Klay, not good. Yes, he is great at catch and shoot. I mean, last year he scored 18 points a game on 39% from deep, but 219 catch and shoot threes, second most in the league. Imagine Luka playing pick and roll with Gafford and Lively. Klay will eat, but it is a totally different system. The Dubs are a motion offense designed to punish defenders off ball. The Mavs are all about Luka. It will be an adjustment from the only team he has ever known. And Klay has been awful the last 2 postseasons. They are not getting 2016 Klay Thompson. It's only a big deal because he left the Warriors. It's like Scottie Pippen leaving Michael Jordan, or better yet, any of the great big threes breaking up. Steph, Klay, and Draymond won 4 titles together, tied for the most by an all-NBA trio with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. But 6 finals is the most by any all-NBA trio. In terms of playoff wins, 3rd behind the Spurs and 80s Lakers, but none of it happens without Klay. And if you think about it, he was the perfect teammate for Steph Curry. I mean, Steph needed another guard with size who didn't even need to dribble, let alone handle the ball, and he didn't crave the spotlight. Klay's attitude was so chill and laid back, it was perfect to be Steph's number 2. His best moments include a 37-point third quarter in January 2015, or 41 points and a then record 11 threes in Game 6 of the 2016 West Finals. So where did it go wrong, and why are the Warriors to blame? Well, in 2019, Klay tore his ACL in the finals, but the Dubs paid him a 5-year max contract anyway. He then tore his Achilles and was out for 2.5 years of his prime. but that wasn't his fault. They offered him the money knowing he was out. What was he supposed to do, turn it down? But when he returned, things weren't the same. Klay started slow the last 2 years and was awful in the playoffs. It got so bad he was benched for rookie Brandon Podziemski. But during the play-in, his final game as a Dub, Klay went 0 for 10 in a loss to the Kings. No wonder they only offered 2 years, $48 million. But that's where it gets tricky. The reason Klay said no is they had just given Draymond a $100 million contract after punching his own teammate, let alone what he did this year, clearly an off-court distraction. They gave Andrew Wiggins a decent deal, but Jordan Poole, $128 million. I am sorry, but given what we now know about Poole, can you imagine how disrespected Klay must have felt being offered a third of that? Oh, but Klay's washed. Yeah, but there wouldn't be so much on him if the Warriors had run their team right. The same day Klay tore his Achilles, the Warriors drafted James Wiseman, number 2. Such a bad pick. That is franchise mismanagement. Then Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody are good, but they're not playoff performers yet, and they might never be. Jordan Poole dropped off. Wiggins and Kevon Looney. Draymond's a mess. So the Dubs missed the playoffs the same year that Klay was up as a free agent. Talk about bad timing. If he was up a year before, like Draymond, they had made the second round. Year before that, they just won the finals. Then all of a sudden they lose in the play and Klay's a free agent. They're like, whoa, we can't just be paying people. Why didn't you say that with Draymond or Wiggins or Poole? I mean, don't they have flaws? So they told Klay he was not a priority this offseason. They would spend their money and he could have what was left over. Wow, what a slap in the face. Klay then went to Steph and told him not to force this. Do not go to the owner and tell them to re-sign me. Klay knew that if Steph did that, it would probably work, but he wanted the offer to be genuine and it never came. So it's sad that the end of Klay is so bitter. And yeah, he's obviously declined and he's got an ego, but the Dubs made so many mistakes along the way that made keeping Klay not worth it. So what does Golden State do now? Well, reports say that they will pivot to Lauri Markkanen after missing on Paul George. Lauri is a skilled 7-footer in the middle of his prime at 27 years old. The definition of what can happen in a good system. He was underrated for years before getting to Will Hardy in Utah. Now he is an all-star who can shoot, create his own shot, and defend in the post. The problem is competition. Teams interested are the Spurs, Kings, and Warriors, at least. Danny Ainge runs the Jazz, and he is known as a tough negotiator who wants to fleece teams in a deal. So what would it actually take? Well, the Warriors get Markkanen for Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and 2 first-round picks. Is that a lot? Yeah, it's a lot. But Warrior fans need to learn 2 harsh truths or continue to suck. Number 1, you don't actually have a great young core. You just have a decent team that is propped up by Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Second, quality players are not cheap. Look at how much big trades cost these days. And this one, against Danny Ainge and the Spurs and Kings, will be expensive. And I know still, fans in the comments will look at that trade and say, no way, that is way too much. I swear, those people are going to keep supporting Jonathan Kuminga until he's like 33 years old. Then they'll be like, yeah, we can go ahead and trade him. I don't think he's going to pan out. Also, I didn't include your 2025 first-round pick in a great draft. I know the Jazz are going to ask for that, but the Dubs say no. Have these 2 over here just in case next season's a disaster. But yes, it is sad how Klay ended. He will have a statue outside of the arena. He might retire as a Warrior years from now, but there is tons of blame to go around. But what about Paul George? This man actually really wanted to play with Steph, but he's in Philly, and this is why that should never have happened.